Are we sitting now?
Now we're sitting.
Okay,
Oh my
great.
God, please.
Thank God. Okay. Well,
Our flight was so delayed, I didn't get to my room till 3 in the morning.
well, you can sleep during this panel.
I was going to ask
Yeah,
you.
it's
I knew
fine.
you were
That's
coming
what
in
I do.
late, but I didn't know it was that late.
So late.
Oh my God.
Not planned.
No.
Weather-induced.
Weather.
Well, yeah.
Terry, we were going to have you on for a half hour and then bring Nicole on.
Okay.
But you would have to leave.
Yeah.
But you would have to leave.
Is
you
that
know.
6,
Too
7,
soon?
an hour? Is that?
Too soon. Too soon.
Okay.
Darren,
Darren, you're mean.
I
Yeah,
am.
Darren.
I am. I'm a
I
mean.
totally
You
didn't
know
try
what?
to
I want to
plus that.
talk about because
Silly. Ashley, get
Nicole
away
is
from him. Come
one of the
sit here.
great unheralded sci-fi movies of all time. I remember going to the Citrus Film Festival, I think it was 1997, Vincent Natalia's Cube, which you're wonderful in. It's like a Twilight Zone episode come to life. And I'd love to know a little bit about your feelings about getting involved with that. And you do so many indie movies, and you never expect anything to come of any of them, right? You're lucky if it got a theatrical release, got great reviews.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that experience, if you can recall.
Yeah, you're right. It's surprising. It did well. You don't think about that. That came out of the Norman Jewison Center, started by wonderful Norman Jewison, who we just lost recently, film director. He started that center in Toronto, and you can take classes there to be a director, a producer, an actor. So Vincenzo was in the directing track. And at the end of the year, they select one person's work to get a budget and create the film. So he won for that year, and they made Cube for he got a budget of like $250,000 or something, which is like nothing. And then they cast it through actors in Toronto, and we're all told this is ultra low budget, and you get paid a little bit of money, but there's also you'll get money in the back end should the film make any money, which they never do. So your agent's like, which it won't, but it would be good for you to be in a cool film, and you're like, yeah, sign me up, sounds great. And it took under 3 weeks to film. It was all just in a little warehouse they rented and built the set, which was literally a cube, 16 by 16 by 16, cube feet. And it was beautiful. It was really great, but difficult to fit everybody in it and the crew and everything. So it was very claustrophobic, which was good. It lent to, for the actors, it really helped. And just for the whole process of making this creepy, scary film. 5 people wake up in this cube thing. They don't know how they got there. And then they start to, as they try to advance into the other rooms, they have to be careful because it can also slice you and dice you up and all these wonderful things.
Yeah, it's a great film if you haven't seen it.
Existential. It did
I
very well in
haven't.
France. And,
Have you guys seen it? I haven't seen it. Let's go. Oh, you have. There you
Terry,
go.
I love the reaction on your face because you did Hellraiser 3. People were being torn apart in front of you. You'd be like, not sliced and diced in a box.
Never.
Yeah, but to be in like a Stop and Shop thing is like,
Yeah,
that
you gotta be
sounds...
careful.
Yeah, right?
Stop and shop.
So it
I
was,
made it up.
yeah. it was
There's one of those out on the highway.
Cool. No
Well-
fancy dressing rooms or anything like that. David Hewlett, who's on Stargate Atlantis. We knew each other from way back, and he's also in Cube, and Andrew Miller. And we just had like one little room that was our green room, and we changed in the bathroom. Very small, which is great. It's a, I don't want to do it for everything, but it was nice for that. And again, lent itself to the type of film we were making.
The ultimate bottle show or cube show.
Yeah, and then we were just pleasantly surprised that it ended up doing so well. But that was on Vincenzo, He has such a wacky mind and imagination, and the script was excellent. He did a small version of that, a short film called Elevated, which you can look it up and find it. And it's like a woman getting in at a parking lot late at night, and she gets in the elevator. But then she's trapped in the elevator. So it's very similar, and he's really good at that sort of building that, And so Cube was like a bigger version of
3
Elevated.
weeks is such a short amount of time
Yeah.
to get any kind of momentum going for the
We got
performances.
right in there,
It
So-
sounds that way. I mean,
Yeah.
did the director know that was going to be a thing to overcome and start you out in a certain way?
I think maybe, and all of us had done theater too, so I think that, maybe part of the casting was just sort of getting a good feeling from us
Right.
that we would be able to get in there quickly with him.
Did you have
amazing.
rehearsal time?
We had a little bit of rehearsal time, but not really. Yeah, it was like
Wow.
the
Well,
first
That's
day.
amazing.
First, Terry, I have to say my hamstrings are hurting now. No, but the second,
It should be in your glutes, man.
The second thing is, we always ask you about the panels because we can't help it. Your first movie, Back to School. I mean, of course, it's Rodney, it's Sam Kinison, it's Keith Gordon, and so.
Yeah, he's no slouch.
We just have to, before we move on to other things, because, for a young actress making her debut to work with these larger-than-life personalities, particularly Rodney, what was that like for you, coming out of modeling and, now you've studied with Stella Adler, you're ready for anything, and now you step on the set and it's guy gets no respect.
Well, I had a little run up to that. I'd worked with, I did Paper Dolls, which was Lloyd Bridges, Morgan Fairchild, Mimi Rogers, Dak Rambo.
Jonathan Frakes.
Jonathan Frakes! Yes, he played Morgan Fairchild's assistant. And I'm trying to think of...
And you told me he wasn't going to amount to
West Side
anything.
Story. I did not say
No,
that.
you didn't.
Who was in
West Side Story, the original or the remake?
No, the man. Richard Beamer. Richard
Right.
Beamer was also in Paper Dolls.
I prefer to think of
And
him
in
as Richard Beamer
Space.
from Twin Peaks, but
From
okay.
Twin Peaks. Okay. No, but so I had done that, which was kind of like, and actually I'd done. I worked with Faye Dunaway.
Look at that, they're bracing themselves for a Faye
Yeah, I
Dunaway
was-
story.
Yeah. So Rodney was like, "Yay!" He was great. He was very nice to me. I was really nervous in the interview, the audition, and he was like, "Don't worry, we really like you, so just try to relax." I'm like, "Try to relax." You have an audition and you don't expect the star to be there, and he's sitting right there. And I didn't recognize him right away because his hair was snow white, so I didn't know he had snow white hair, like Darren. And I sat down, and it was like, "Oh, it's him." Oh. It's just sort of one of those moments. I don't know who that white-haired guy is. Oh, it's him.
Oh, it's Darren.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would have been terrifying, honestly.
How was that other actor in the show who didn't really amount to much, Robert Downey?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Whatever happened to him?
I don't know.
Oh.
But we had fun getting drunk and hanging out and
Nice.
That sounds on
being
brand.
generally bad together,
Nice.
the two of us.
Well done.
Because we really didn't, me, and Billy Zabka, we didn't have a lot to do. With the three of us,
Yeah.
were sort of waiting for...
Yeah.
Waiting for the scene where you were looking at the triple Lindy.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, I gotta
done.
ask you because I know this is, this really pitted the two of you against each other, and it is controversial, and you may not want to talk about it after all these years. But you were in a Twilight Zone, you were in Outer Limits. So which is better?
Girl, how about no? It's amazing no matter which one,
great.
right? They're both epic, legendary shows.
Yeah, they're both great. I mean, I love both of them. You
Yeah.
know? I didn't know Outer Limits as much. I liked Twilight Zone better. So I kind of tipped that way.
Honestly, I'm done with people pitting us
I
against
know,
each other.
It's like a bummer. It's a bummer.
All right, well, there goes the last 10 minutes of this panel.
Right. Yeah.
We're throwing out our notes.
Yeah, no more Dax fight.
What notes?
The ones in here, Mark. Remember?
No, but couldn't we play sisters in something?
You could.
Right?
I saw a photo of you, even as Jadzia.
Obviously, I'm the older sister
Shut
for
up.
sure.
Honestly, I'm looking at your skin, and I don't know. I'm sitting here going, how is her skin so freaking
Lots of
fabulous?
lotion. Lots of lotion.
There was a picture of you I saw, though, the other day. You know what I even saw? It was, I don't know if it was just on TV.
What?
When you were at your
You're it.
what do you call it? Oh my God, your bachelorette party, I guess, on Deep Space Nine.
Oh.
I thought you were adorable. Oh my God, so good. And I kind of was like, wait, I see a little bit of like Esri in there. Like I see, and then your blue eyes, your left. I'm like,
How
I see,
cute
we
is
look like
that?
sisters. Like,
see a little bit of Esri
well,
in there.
Or you and me, the other way around. You know,
Whoa.
you know
So-
what I mean.
Does it
The
matter?
other way around.
It doesn't matter.
But oh, it was so good though. I loved that episode. It was so cute.
Is this the moment we lost control?
If you could do, if you could, I will just watch you go. But if you could do a movie as sisters, what genre would you want to do?
Oh.
Like, what would the film be? You don't need to write it. You have writers here. But what genre?
Rom-com, horror, both.
Horror rom-com. Horror rom-com.
that kind of fucks me up a bit.
Why?
I kind of don't know how to wrap my brain around.
Well, maybe we
horror
don't.
rom-
Maybe we just let our
wait,
brains go.
Was there like somebody who Happy Death Day?
See?
Because that was a horror rom-com
That's what
kind
I'm
of a vibe.
saying. Or horror com. Horror com.
What's a horror com?
Well, there's no rom necessarily.
oh, so like
Oh, there could be. Whatever.
like American
down.
Werewolf in London. That was
Ooh, like that kind.
That was funny and terrifying all at the same time.
Yes, and
Okay.
sexy. Yes.
Do you want to be the David Naughton part, or do you want to be the Griffin Dunn part?
Ooh.
We do a female version of that.
Oh, okay. Look at, see?
Right?
This is like
There you go. This is
brainstorming
great.
on this. I
And
love
Jenny
it.
Agutter will
That's
still
actually
be in
good.
it.
That's right.
Isn't it good?
Yeah. And then.
Okay, you're younger. You go through the whole wolf transformation. I'll be Griffin Dunn with the horror makeup.
You don't throw
Makeup.
paint on the Mona Lisa. Come on. You're going to be like Griffin Dunn with all the
Thank
makeup
you.
and the zombie through the whole
She's like,
movie.
you get all the makeup. That's okay, but not as long as it's not. Yeah, as long as
Yeah,
it's
but you're
cute.
younger.
As
Your
long as
body
it's
is
cute.
amazing. You
Maybe
should
your
be the
arm
wolf.
is like turning into
So it's like a
zombie.
cute horror
Well,
movie, is what it is.
It's our version,
Yeah,
right? Doesn't have
it's
to be
One of
so
those
dramatic.
adorable horror movies.
That's true.
Well,
Maybe you both get to be
Keep my
werewolves,
face good, but like maybe have my
yeah,
guts
see, I
spilling
like
out.
that idea.
Okay.
and then you just leap out
I
and
think
attack
mind
you
that
put
we're
the
having
makeup
two
on once at
conversations.
least.
Is that hard for you guys?
Nobody's going to sound awful on the podcast.
It's going to sound terrible. But I think it boils down to it's Wolfen meets Bridesmaids is what we're talking about.
Wow. You
Okay,
mean you
I'm
don't
not
know?
getting married again. I am not getting married.
But I think we brought down the comedy from that kind of comedy to a more subtle, right? Is that what you were
So
saying?
you know what? How about we do a drama?
Okay.
Okay.
Well, the great thing is we can do it all.
Well, that's
So
it.
we can do it. Yeah.
We could.
But they can't change in the bathroom. They have to have trailers, and the budget has to be more than
Oh, yes.
$250,000. So there you go.
Oh, yeah.
Slightly.
Yes, not slightly.
Yeah.
That's right.
It's
it is
the
2024.
it's the Odd Couple with werewolves.
Oh, there we go. Oh, can we be vampires?
Vampires,
instead?
I'm having PTSD
that.
flashbacks right
I
now.
love that.
So
We're
who's
the
calling
odd
Michael
couple
Westmore?
vampires. Okay.
Who's calling Michael Westmore to come out of retirement for that?
Yes. She can do it. They are best buds. She can do that. We can make
He
this
won't,
happen.
But we can get somebody from
yeah, that from
his daughter's show,
his daughter.
Yeah.
Mackenzie's show.
Face off.
Yeah.
The
Thank
Odd
you.
Couple, Neil Simons, The Otter Couple.
Oh my God.
Wow. I think your guys are onto something. This is very interesting.
We're
Well,
definitely on something.
I suppose they want us to talk about Star Trek. So,
Star Trek?
I'm
What's that?
sorry. Star Trek. Okay.
I mean,
I know
it's in the
nothing
name of the
about
podcast, and it's
I
like,
know
you
nothing-
guys.
But wait, I know nothing about Esri.
So why don't you ask Nicole, and we'll just kick back. You can ask her the questions you always wanted to know.
And I am doing the podcast Delta Flyers Journey Through the Wormhole, and one of the cool parts is I have not seen the 7th season. This is going to take 3.5 years to
Well,
do.
you
We're
were
already
dead.
6 months in.
Yeah.
What?
I said
Have
you were
s-
dead. How could you possibly?
see.
Are they going to have like
See?
a
6
therapist
months in?
on set when you're recording that? Like
Yeah.
when you're watching 7th season, are they going to have a therapist there to deal with issues from watching the 7th season?
It's like going to your own funeral. That's so weird.
Isn't it weird?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know because I haven't seen it yet.
Okay. It will be.
But yeah.
But anyway, so that's interesting because you'll be watching, but it's the same thing like Walter's doing, like the original show, and he wasn't in. So it's interesting. It'll be interesting your perspective on that.
Well, I think actually We experienced the hardest part of it in real time because I didn't want to die.
Right.
And it was really hard to get close to you because I was angry at them. And also myself thinking, how could I have handled it to make it work out the way I wanted it to? And it just wasn't going to happen that way.
Well, plus you love that role. You
did.
got a really wonderful role that you played for 6 years. And I mean, let's face it, for a young actor to be thrown into this, having to play multiple lifetimes, men, women, I mean, it's this orphan black melange of stuff, and you did it with such finesse and you gave your all. And obviously people don't know, but back in the day of 26 episode seasons, it was brutal because you guys were working nonstop. You were working Fridays, you were working ridiculous hours, and then you had a couple of weeks during the summer hiatus, and then you're back.
Fridays is a real thing.
It's a thing.
So, no. So I just, I don't want to dwell too much on the negative because it's so wonderful that you guys have this bond, having, given the negativity that you might have had at the time. So let's start with you, Terry. I know we've talked about this before, but they may not be familiar about sort of, you were put from the very beginning in a very tough position because they didn't have a Dax and they needed something. They were already shooting, David Carson was already shooting the pilot, and you get dragged in to audition with very little time, very little understanding, very little direction, and that was the challenge. Can you talk about coming into audition and discovering this role and how that process went?
Well, they wouldn't see me from the springtime until August. And I didn't get the part until August 24th, but I don't remember when they started shooting, but it had to have been the beginning of July. That's usually when we started our season, so I'm sure that must have been when they started the pilot. And by the end, everything was pretty much everything they hadn't shot with Dax. So they gave me a forehead initially.
Yeah,
We
yes,
shot
about
that for a couple of days, and then the powers that be said, what the hell did you do to her? Go back to the drawing board, so they're still shooting without me, and they figured out the spots, and then I come back, and then nothing is left except for everything I'm in. And I don't know if I had a sinus infection or bronchitis at that time after being so exhausted and so nervous. I'd easily lost 20 pounds from what I weigh right now. I was so skinny in my scenes in the pilot. And I'm 6 feet tall, so when you see me next to Avery and pay attention to how thin I am, it's like, well, that wasn't good. I must have weighed like 130, 135 pounds in that range. Yeah, so much stress. And I wanted it so bad. I mean, Spock was my favorite thing in the world, and I love Star Trek from when I was a little girl, so I put a lot of pressure on myself, right?
But you didn't get to ease into it.
No.
And you're dealing with all these theater-trained actors, and again, you come from modeling. You hadn't done a ton of stuff. You'd done the TV series, which was short-lived, a couple of movies, but
Sucked
so
my
that's
career
really
for a
hard.
while
You're
for a
really thrown into
relationship.
the deep end with a
Yeah.
double Indy, triple Indy.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and actors, they'd all bonded pretty much, so there wasn't a lot of room for me to try to figure out where was I getting my support. And maybe that's one of the reasons I bonded so much with Michael Westmore, because he was my anchor, and I knew the actors from Next Gen, because I'd met Marina and Michael Dorn through a mutual friend. Long story short, it was Mimi Rogers, who knew a friend who knew Michael and Marina. Okay, that was long story longer, sorry. But so all my testing was done on Next Gen, so I felt way more comfortable with Jonathan West and everybody on that side.
The director of photography.
Yeah, and we had Marvin Rush over on Deep Space, but he was originally with
Next Gen, yeah.
And then when Voyager came on, I'm sorry, I almost went Voyager, but you were not Voyager. You were on the good show with us. I'm sorry, I don't even know why I said that, because I really have seen probably 15 minutes of Voyager to root Jerry on, because I love Jerry. But
You
wait,
should
hold
get
on.
that.
Why don't you get that and we'll wait.
but we all want to know, did she say yes?
Oh my God.
It took me a second.
Thank you. I don't know where it came from. But yeah, so yeah, it was, I could feel myself being not looked down by everybody, but there were a few theater snobs there that definitely looked down at me. One person said to me in particular, well, you're the sex symbol in this show. You don't have to worry about acting. Yeah, I'm not going to tell you who said that.
I don't.
Yeah, that really hurt a lot. Yeah. So it made me feel like that's how everybody sees me, and I have to just figure this out by myself.
Yeah.
Did you ever have a conversation with that person later and have any sort of reconciliation over something
No.
like that? Man, that's too bad.
No,
That's
I
really
think
too
it's just some people work that way,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and
Oh, that sucks.
have also made they make comments that you go, it harkens back to that, no matter how they'll say they don't feel a certain way, or it's just, people can reveal themselves by their actions, and you just don't have to think that hard about it.
But there's no understanding of what you were going through as an actress that was thrown into this crucible, and then giving mostly the technobabble, which means nothing because it's not real, and it's all BS, and so you have nothing to relate it to. So in acting, they say, relate it to something in your real life, find the truth of the There's no truth in it.
But I would make my own story with it, and I'm sure you can understand that. I would make my own kind of, I'm saving my sister and my nieces and nephews, not whatever the race was or the entity. I made it personal to me so that when I was doing it, it meant something to me, right? And then memorizing the different things were like car parts or, I don't know.
That would be better, actually, if they were car parts. Who needs an
I just
EPS
don't know what
conduit?
this
Just
is,
yeah.
right? Yeah, the plasma field, that thing outside
It's
your
the
car.
carburetor.
Yeah,
Well-
it's a carburetor.
I want to ask Nicole, because it was very different for you. And in fact, you were sort of given a gift with the role in that she was inexperienced, she was naive, she didn't know what she didn't know what she was getting into. So as someone coming into the 7th season of a show where everyone knows each other, where you're playing this very complex role, it kind of, the role they wrote for you is sort of paves the way for the performance. Was it easier? What was your transition like?
Well, when you said you were given this gift, see, I thought you were going to say kind of the opposite, because what you went through was from day one. Beginning day one, as you being that series regular and everything you went through.
But she jumps in.
I jumped into a fully realized universe, a fully oiled machine. A love-hate feeling towards me depended on the viewer. It's subjective, but a character that you, like, fuck that person who said that to you.
Thank
You
you.
created a character that was so beloved. That's why people were so upset when you were gone. You created a fully realized character of Jadzia Dax that people loved so much.
And you were
know
so
that.
brave to come in and go through the same
Yes.
thing that I went through in a
But
way.
Yes
Yeah.
and no, because I didn't watch. If I had watched the show, I would have been way more nervous. I didn't watch Deep Space Nine. I watched The Next Generation, and then I don't know. I was at an age I wasn't watching TV in general at that point in my life. Plus, I had a boyfriend who auditioned for Siddig's role, and because we loved The Next Generation, and we were so excited. Oh my God, you auditioned for Star Trek, and he didn't get it. And then we were like, well, forget them. We're not going to watch that stupid show when it comes out. So that was another reason I didn't watch Deep Space Nine. And so when I finally, got an audition or got the call to read for it, I thought, I don't know it. It all happened so quickly, the audition process to being on set. I didn't really have a chance. And I'm so thankful, because I would have been way more nervous had I watched it. Had I, followed that show and knew exactly what I was, oh my God, are you kidding me? They killed Jadzia and now they expect me to come in there? But I didn't know, thankfully. And that's what made it easier. And then I came into this fully realized, I say it was like Alice in Wonderland being dropped into this fully realized place, this well-oiled machine. And I just had to trust when they said to me, don't get freaked out, just try to think of it as a new character. And I just went with that. I said, okay, that's what I'm gonna do, because I don't wanna get myself freaked out, and I didn't watch the show. And it all happened really quickly.
Did you feel any of that sort of stage snobbery?
You know, I didn't, but everybody seemed a little tired by that point. Like they've been doing it for, not in their acting when you say action, you
Right.
know what I mean? But like years of, you know, all the makeup, all the long hours, all the fratter days. That was something I did notice. I had worked, I felt like I'd worked a fair bit in Canada on both Canadian and American shows. I'd been on series at that point. I had never seen hours like that. I thought coming to Paramount, like it was gonna be cushy, you know, it was, and it was not. It was long, long hours, craft service. So I was like, could I get a tuna sandwich at 11? Ooh, okay. And then they got me a sandwich and I said, could you eat it behind the curtain over here so other people don't see you having it?
Oh my
Like,
goodness.
What? So, yeah, no, I didn't get
Secret
snobby,
tuna
but
sandwiches,
I
you heard it
didn't
here
get-
first.
Yeah. So,
Why don't you have that in your trailer in your refrigerator? Did you bring enough for everyone, Nicole?
So it was weird. Everyone was nice, but yeah, it seemed more tired at that season 7 by season 7.
Don't let people see that bowl of gruel. Everyone will
Yeah,
want one.
I know. Everyone will want that bowl of grill. But it wasn't until I did conventions later and I hung out with people more, oh, you're very pleasant. You're very lovely, because they were tired at that point, you know? And it was such a dark and somber set, so it wasn't like fun and games. And people ask, what kind of jokes did you have? No, that's not really how
It was Deep Space Nine. Did
not
you
really
watch the
how it
show?
was.
Yeah.
Do you think the material sort of affected the mood, or just that it was the last season and the show, we all know, was brilliant, but it was not accepted in the way Next Gen was, as the ratings weren't, you know, all the things people use to grade things which are bullshit, you know, but people love the show. But do you think that when they were starting and doing all the publicity, you know, when you were being trotted out to talk to everybody from Newsweek to the LA Times and, oh, this is the new next generation, and then it turns out, you know, you're the also, and then they start talking about, oh, Voyager is going to be the next generation, right? So that idea of being the bastard stepchild, you know, was there a sense of that?
He added bastard into that. I just thought stepchild.
Well, it takes one to know one.
We were the middle child. But what I'm is because we were always in the top 10 of syndications. So when they'd say we weren't that beloved, it's like, what more can you ask for to be in the top 10 of syndicated? We were syndicated. Voyager wasn't.
Well, and people were more passionate.
And if
people were more passionate
shows
about these
today
things.
had numbers like Deep Space Nine had, nobody would be talking about ratings collapses in television.
But you would read the interviews with Rick Berman. I'm not, you know, this was a thing where they're like, yeah, we know. And then they kept, you know, trying to, oh, well, we're going to bring Michael Dorn on to boost the ratings and this stuff. And it worked out creatively brilliant because Ira was a genius and Ron and Renee and everybody. But there was that perception, you know, even when they talked about the shows, that, oh, Deep Space Nine is its own thing. But that was cool. It was the cool kid, right? It was the cool kid, you know, that was wearing all black, you know, that was, as opposed to like the mainstream kind of.
Like we're the quirky kid on the playground in elementary that nobody thinks is going to amount to anything, and then we end up having the better stories.
Just gonna say yes, exactly. That's
That
exactly
stands
it.
the test of time.
Yep.
That still speaks to us in a relevant way right now.
More so than anybody, and
Yeah.
particularly it being serialized, the depth
has
and
deep
complexity.
character.
That all
to
of them
it,
aren't
you know?
great. I don't mean that.
It's just that some of them are less great.
Ow, that hurts so
Well,
bad.
you know what? I'm glad you mentioned that because you talked about being you're on the Delta Flyers, and contrary to what people think, you know, you're not Norma Desmond sitting at home watching old episodes of Deep Space Nine year after year, right? So this is the first time
People think that.
you're watching probably in 20, 30 years, right? What has been your takeaway, like overall watching it?
Oh my gosh. The first season I was like, okay, the makeup, I can see that, I can see this, I can see mistakes all over the place. That drove me a little nutty. Because I thought,
Glad to see you're focused on the important things, Terry.
Right? Yeah, no. I know that's so bad, isn't it?
It's like, forget the great writing, forget the great cinematography, but the makeup was a little
I think
off.
there was a lot of good writing in the first season, but it seemed like we did a lot of whodunits. which didn't seem to equate to space to me. And I think at the time I was so stressed because it's a new show and I'm just worrying about my acting and the character. Who cares if it's another whodunit? I'm not saying that right. But now I can see where that isn't tracking with the stories that we really want to be telling.
Well, did it feel as though they were trying to find what the show is?
I was going to say maybe they were getting from notes from or who trying to figure out what is this since it wasn't a standalone, right? That or was it sort of?
It was more standalone in the beginning,
yeah.
Like
but it was also
Which I think lent to the whodunit thing because we're on the station. Right?
Yeah, which is
a
huge.
lot of Armin, which was really good.
a lot of Armin.
Armin was really good in it. Armin Renee, Nana's in it a lot in the first season, finding herself, and the whole Bajoran religion is a big focus in the first season. That would be my takeaway from the first season.
And a lot of great guest stars. A lot of great,
Yeah.
Brian Keith is in that season.
Yeah.
Harris Yulin is in that season. I
Louise
think the
Fletcher.
first Louise Fletcher episode is the end of the season.
Now I realize I have
Yes.
started the first season, yeah, because I've seen this stuff. Yes, a lot of the Bajoran getting
That's
that stuff
okay.
going.
Prevagen.
Yeah, seriously, man, I'm telling you. Menopause.
We talk about the first season. The first season was really the brainchild of somebody that I want to talk to you about, Nicole, who you may have some thoughts about, is Michael Piller. And of course, you worked for many years on his show, The Dead Zone. And Michael, unfortunately, he died of throat cancer. He's no longer with us. But he brought so much. He is the Gene Coon of modern Star Trek. He brought so much. I wonder if you could just share a few thoughts about Michael with us and your feelings about him.
I didn't know Michael when I was working on Deep Space Nine. I only met him after when I got the auditions for The Dead Zone, and then I realized who he was and everything, and I didn't even know that, I wasn't really aware if he even paid attention to me on the show or whatever. So I auditioned for it like any other actress would audition for that, and came in for the callbacks to have chemistry reads with Anthony Michael Hall. And, it wasn't really until later that I knew that, they asked me in because they did like me from that. But still, there was lots of other young women auditioning for it. But then once I did get the role and we started filming in Vancouver, we would go out and group nice dinners, as you do, or good ones do, nice, And he loved wine, and he loved to educate everyone because I didn't know, I still don't know anything about wine. So he always loved to educate people on that, go out for lovely dinners and get all these wonderful wines. And he had like a father figure type of thing for me, And, but I do remember as far as his writing, he wrote women very well. And in that, he wasn't trying to write a woman. It was like it could be a man or a woman, but yet I just got this sense of, he's just a great writer. But I really loved how he wrote for women. And
He created our character.
I do know that, but I never got to, yes, so that makes sense. But I never met him at the time or anything.
I just find that interesting that you said that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there was a time he left the office. I don't remember.
Yeah,
Probably
he
to do
wasn't
other
really
stuff,
involved
right?
because he left to go do Legend.
Okay.
Which was, and then he was one of the creators on Voyager, because he left to work on Voyager, so he wasn't really involved with Deep Space by the time you came around. But yes, of course, he created your character.
Yeah.
So and he was around the set in the beginning with his little baseball hat, but he was a little scared of
Loved the
actors too.
Dodgers, yeah,
he
he was
was-
kind of shy in some ways. Yeah.
He wanted me to date his son.
Sean.
I know.
Sean wanted to date everyone.
Well,
I
yeah.
know. Don't ruin it for me.
He only wanted to date
Sean
you.
loved the shows and he had crushes on
Yes.
And Sean took over
And I'm like,
from his dad.
no, Michael, no, he's way too young for me. And I could only imagine if that didn't go well. What would work be like? That's not complicated.
He wanted Sean to
Sean
date
is
you.
great and went on to do Haven, which I signed some Haven things, so I know people watch that. And Sean has been very good to me. That he calls me his good luck charm, so he puts me in pretty much everything that he does. Like I was in the pilot of Haven and Private Eyes. That was Sean Piller as well. That was a TV show we shot in Canada with Jason Priestley and Cindy Sampson, and I played Jason's ex-wife. So we did that for a few years. That just ended a couple of years ago. That was Sean Piller. He's got a show on CW right now that is called Wild Cards, and that just got picked up for a second season. So he's been, oh, he did with Nana. What was the show they did in New Mexico? Yeah,
In New Mexico.
that was Sean Pillar too.
Right.
Yeah, about the
don't know.
horses, wild. That
Oh
had
yeah,
wild in
yeah.
it, too.
Something with horses.
Something
Yes.
like that.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Canadian
he
show,
really
yeah.
did his dad proud. He's gone on to be a really great
He
producer,
has,
writer,
and a
director.
good friend of ours was the showrunner in Haven, Gabrielle Stanton, and she loves you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, but she,
Where's
you know,
Gabrielle?
they had such a good.
Like you
she-
say that like it's so.
No, no, I'm just saying.
She's coming out right now.
So out of
here
left.
she
We
is.
don't. We don't. But
Unlike
she
everyone
I'm
else.
just-
does. Gabrielle does.
I was pivoting to Haven,
Okay.
and just
I'm just teasing that. That's great.
unlike the people on Stargate who can't. No, but so tell us, you know, again, it's like interesting being a guest star on a show. How it's different than being a regular. Obviously, some shows are much warmer to the guest stars. Other shows aren't. You know, I'm sure it's influenced the way you, when you're, you know, part of an ensemble, how you treat the guest stars, which is to be more welcoming. That's not always the case on a show.
Yeah, that is important. And, you know, to that, it's also, it comes from the top. The whole tone, the whole feel of the set is set by the number one on the call sheet. And so I started acting, you know, at a young age of 17, and I watched people and I learned from people and older people and the number one on the call sheet, and I would watch how they treated people and how they did that. And it's very important. And then I would do the guest spot thing in Canada on mostly Canadian shows, I guess. And it was hard, but I started getting better at it. You know, you come in, you don't know anyone, it's lunchtime, whatever. Didn't have a nice trailer because you're just a guest star, right? So you've got the little, so you go sit with everyone, but it's weird. One time I had so much prosthetic, it was so gross, everything was falling off my face, and I had to go and eat now with people at lunch, so I felt like such a pariah there. It was weird.
So maybe
But
you should be
start
Griffin
to
Dunn.
learn the skills of how to do that, how to get in there, and hopefully they're nice to you. But even if they're not, you go to the makeup people. You know, you get in there and you get friendly with them, and you're there to do your job. And it's a bonus if people are nice and you can enjoy it. But I noticed to watch that. So when I finally did like a Lifetime movie or something where I was finally number one, like not the girlfriend of the guy who was number one and was number two a lot, but then I was like, oh my God, I'm number one. So that's important, and the kind of tone you set is important,
That is a little, for you future showrunners, that is something you should always do. I've always done that on all my shows. It's like, you want to know what people really think, go to makeup and ask, so what are people really saying? And if you have a good relationship with them, they will tell you.
Wardrobe.
Wardrobe too, yes. very
Wardrobe
much.
too,
That's
yeah.
how makeup sometimes gets fired, by the way.
Yeah. So I want to ask you, and then I want to go to questions too, so you can line up by the mic. You mentioned number one on the call sheet. Obviously, the number one on your call sheet on Deep Space Nine was Avery Brooks. Avery is a very powerful, smart, charismatic man. Can you talk a little bit about, he could also be very intimidating, working with Avery on Deep Space Nine? Either one.
You're pointing at me. I would say the first time I had a scene with Avery where it was just he and I, he called me old man, but there was this tone of kind of aggressive challenge, and I had to be really super relaxed about it. But again, it was like during the pilot, during my 1 week of everything, it's the Terry show. Oh my gosh, which, I'm number 5 on the call sheet. I should have a little bit of a back seat here. So I guess when we turned the camera around, I just went up to Mr. Brooks and I said, I was kind of feeling like he was old enough to be my dad. I don't know if he is, but his presence, his stature felt that way. It felt like he was that much older than me. And I just said, look, Avery, I'm just this 28-year-old trying to pull this together, and would you please help me, because I'm really intimidated and I don't know how to one-up you in this scene. I can't do that. And it was like that broke the spell of what, I guess him trying to figure out how far he could push me or something. That's not how it felt at the time. I was just too scared, feeling like I was going to get fired any second. And so he just like softened, and then not the same as he was to Sirach, but I felt like he had my back in that he knew I don't know if this is choking me up. You're too nice. You're too open, Terry. But at the same time that he would tell me these things, he would try to be supportive of me. So the scenes I have with him throughout my relationship as Dax with Cisco, there are times when we are toe to toe, and I am so proud of those scenes, because when he's screaming at me or at this like super high level, and I'm Dax and I'm at this Zen kind of level, it took a lot to steel myself and genuinely feel calm, and it made me really proud of myself. But he helped me do that because he really believed in me. Well, that's what he let me think anyway.
No.
Thank you.
For me, it was all in the writing, and he, it was already the old man, and of course now I'm coming on, and he's already been used to doing this with Jadzia, but it was a different dynamic because Ezra was different, and I was just this little pixie who came on and was like, hello, Avery, here I am, and then someone pulled me aside and went, are you calling him Avery? And I'm like, yeah, that's his name. And they're like, it's Mr. Brooks, you can't call him that. I was like, well, I didn't know that. Nobody told me that. So then I went out to the set, and I got down on my knees, and I kissed his hand, and I said, I'm so sorry, Mr. Brooks, Mr. Brooks, I'm so sorry. So I was being silly, and like I said, people were worn out by season 7. They were tired. So, I don't know if he was more mellow. I find him to be a lovely man. I thought he was an amazing director when he directed one of our episodes later on. Just this really cool cat. It was just there in the writing, calling me old man. I mean, I just found that so great. Just to read it on the paper, I found it great. So to do this scene with him, I just loved it. It was yummy to do. And he was very generous, and it just felt really good,
Can I just say, I don't know about the Mr. Brooks thing. I said it probably that time because I was...
But I don't imagine you calling him
No, I called
that
him
ever.
Avery.
Yeah. I'm like, what are you talking about?
No, but
At least
some
he wasn't a
people were
method
really
actor who
funny
wanted you to
about
call
it.
him
Not
Cisco.
everybody did.
No.
No. But I know you did, so I was like, what
Yeah.
is she talking about?
No, well, that's my first time working with
Yes,
him,
the
right?
first
and
time.
I was begging for him to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, he was great. But it's not a jokestery
He used
kind
to,
of.
he
But
used
he
to
is.
sing and
yes.
yeah. Sometimes he's jokey, but
Yeah.
he's not a silly person.
Yes, he's not a silly person.
No.
But wonderful, wonderful. I loved working with him.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, we're ready for you. Bring it on.
Well, first of all, I wanted to say this is the first time I've had the chance to see a Deep Space Nine panel ever, so I think that's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome.
I was a rebel at the beginning. I was a Next Generation, 80s teenager, loved the Next Generation, was mad when it ended, and was kind of rejecting Deep Space Nine. Ooh. I was kind of rejecting it, and I actually didn't watch it until probably mid to like 2010. Started watching it when things started streaming, and
That's
I
a
would
lot of
walk
rage.
Yeah. And so I started watching that, and I had never heard the story you were telling a minute ago about how you got thrown in at the beginning, and I'd never heard any of that. So I'm shocked because you were my favorite character in the show, and I had never known that was the way you got thrown in. I thought you were the glue in the show, and that, I don't know, I just loved you. And I can't believe that was not.
Thank you.
And then when you died, I was sad, but I loved Ezri, and I love that you called yourself a pixie, because that's exactly how I saw you. It was so cute, and I wasn't mad at you. I felt sorry for you. You know,
Yeah,
that's the way I
right?
was like, oh my goodness, cut this girl a break. She cannot help that she has this thing in her body and she's trying to be
Oh.
3 people, you know, or 20 people, or however many people it was, you know. But the question I have is just kind of a silly one. I've always wondered it. I know you got pretty close to Michael Dorn. I was thrilled when he got brought on there because, like I said, I was a Next Generation fan. But you guys got married, which was so fun. But I wondered about your makeup. I loved your dots. I thought it was so cute and just beautiful, you know, but then he has all that makeup. So whose makeup took the longest to do?
Oh, well, definitely his.
Oh, the prosthetics, I guess. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Prosthetics, he had a wig. I had a 3/4 fall, so Michael would do, I think this is how we did it. Michael would do my regular makeup. Then they would do my hair. And a 3/4 fall is when they pin it here. So that my hair would be the same length all the time.
Like you always wore that.
Yes. Same hairpiece from episode 1.
That was your own hair. Because those
It
can
is.
get,
what you
those
see in the
can-
front
does
is
that
my
hurt
hair.
after
like
a while?
shat-
'Cause
Yes,
the falls
it
are
did.
like,
I used to
ugh.
eat Advil.
Oh,
I even
that's
got
awful.
gastroenteritis from Advil.
I think I have that too.
Shut up.
But maybe it's the symbiont.
This may be the best panel we've ever done.
Now I'm seriously worried about her now. Don't worry, we'll get you help,
I gotta
sweetie.
talk to my doctor about this.
Mental health is real. No, but I don't. I think altogether I was 2.5 hours. So he had parts glued onto him and everything. So
Yeah. I had heard his was really long, but yours seemed to be, I mean, I know it was more makeup and less prosthetics, but it was just beautiful how it was done. So I
thank
thought it took a
you.
while, so
I know.
thank
we'd
you.
appreciate- You're welcome. Thank you for asking.
We're going to need to race through these if we're going to make it.
I'll be quick. Thanks for coming to Oklahoma City, everybody. I just had a quick question. Hey! It's been nice seeing some of the other 90s Trek actors come to the recent shows, and I was just going to ask if you guys had any urge to put the uniform back on.
Right
On
now?
what reason, you know? I don't have an urge to put that uniform on ever, I'll tell you. It's not like, you know, it wasn't the most comfortable. It wasn't the most awful thing in the world, but it wasn't the most comfortable, and it was like polyester or whatever, I don't know. But I would put it on for certain reasons, yes.
It was figurative.
I would say yes, although since I've already passed and she has Dax, I would have to be my
Never say
sister.
never. You never know.
I
I
would
mean,
have to be my
Spock's died like
sister.
4 times.
Or she's just versions of herself. and you're just-
Well, if we saw the episode, but you must have done it too, obviously, where you summon up someone from before. I just summon you up at the start and you stay the whole time.
Right, like
Chintara.
all of me.
That's all it takes.
There's no orb of resurrected actors.
Isn't Picardo? Isn't he a hologram?
Yes.
Yes, there's that.
I could be your hologram.
There's so many ways. So many
Yeah.
ways. So many
Okay.
ways it could
Thank
go
you,
down.
Thank you.
I think it should be women of Star Trek, and we should
Yes.
be all female characters on the bridge.
Yeah. Thumbs up.
First of all, hi. I'm really proud to be following Barf.
It's only up from here.
Yeah, definitely. Look, this is to Terry. My favorite episode on DS9 is when you were sitting at the table with the 3 past Klingons. John Kalikos was my hero. I love that man, his acting talent. And I just wanted to hear your point of view from sitting across those 3 greats.
Michael and Sarah, John Campbell?
No, John Colicos and
Bill
and-
Campbell.
and-
Bill Campbell.
and Bill Campbell, William Campbell.
Oh my gosh. Well, first of all, it was like, it's one of those dream things where they treated me like I was a movie star, like we were back in the days when they were on the lot and that I was signed with Paramount. So they would wait till I got there. I was the lady. They were, oh my gosh, it was like, wow. I mean, I wouldn't have, they were all way too old for me. But it was really fun to be treated like a lady. I mean, that doesn't happen very often anyway. So they were perfect gentlemen. I know it was more challenging for all of them because they were way up there in age. especially compared to me. I did more of the bouncing around than they did in the fighting scenes and stuff. But there was one moment where we all had, and we only used these bat lifts in this one shot, and all 4 of us had these polished Dan Curry bat lifts. I have mine at home. And
For home defense.
home defense, yeah. And I know how to use it, so keep that in mind. But we're all walking, there's fire behind us, and it was amazing. And it was fun to do scenes with each one of them individually, like in Blood Oath, where I had to talk each one of them to go on the mission with me.
Now, here's the bad news. We only have time for one more question. The good news is they're going to be here all weekend, and they're going to be at their booth, so you'll have a chance to see them. And I wanted you've never done a GalaxyCon here in Oklahoma City, so when the panel is over, it is their tradition to take a group selfie. So instead of running out the door when the panel's over, come up by the stage, and they'll stand on the stage. Nicole hasn't been to GalaxyCon either. And the photographer will stand here and take a selfie of everyone. So let's do one last question, and then again, I'm sorry, time management is not one of my strengths, so come see them at their booth all weekend long. Go ahead.
Okay, I did not want to be the last question.
So make it good, no pressure.
I wish I was Barf. So my favorite
Comedy
part.
in this room, Matt.
My favorite part of DS9 is the relationship between Dax, both of you, and Worf. And I was wondering, because there's such a, like, whenever he comes onto the show, he comes in late. You did such a good job of, like, bringing his character in. And then, do you know if there was some of that whenever, Nicole, you came onto the show? And, I don't know. I guess I'm asking a bad question.
Wait, what was the question?
I don't know.
Did the chemistry with Michael Dorn and Worf was something you were aware of and you amplified when you came onto the show?
But first, because he came on, when did he come in?
Season
Fourth
4,
season.
yeah.
How was that?
Well, great, because we were friends before. So we were just like, hey, Michael said, should we flirt with each other, see if they'll write more for us? I said, fuck yeah, let's do that. So we did. The scene wasn't written that way, but just like anything, chemistry isn't just something that happens naturally with us, but it's also intentional. I could look at you in a way that I want you, that makes it seem like I have chemistry with you, right?
Yeah.
Acting.
So, but it works, right?
And Nicole.
100%. I think it would work better if you were closer. You understand what I'm saying, though, right?
I do, and
Right.
yeah.
And so
Wasn't such a bad question after all.
Yeah.
Pretty great question.
And did you? I don't give away the
forget
seventh
what
season
the
because I haven't
question
seen
is.
it.
I
But
forget, what is it really?
Did
I just
Michael
loved
Dorn.
working with him. Again, for one thing I will say about Jadzia was gone, but she was not gone. And the lovely gift that I had as Ezri was bringing closure to a lot of people, I mean the characters, who were missing their friend, their wife, my job was to help bring them closure. That's what the writers did for her, as well as she had her own little things going on. But I can see clearly now, especially in hindsight, that was what I was doing. That was also my job too.
kind of like a midwife for their emotions.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone, so much. Line up over here. They're going to take a quick picture, and
Thank you,
we'll see you
everybody.
throughout the weekend. A lot more panels to come.
Thank you for